Anytime there was a spike, one of my children would get a nosebleed. We had to make a very difficult choice to walk away from our home in Dish because we were fearful of the health of our children. You don't want to have to be in the doctor's office and have them give you bad news when you know you could have done something to perhaps prevent it. Once you know, you can't not know. Once you know, now every single time that something happens, you wonder what you're doing to prevent that. We were fearful for our children. So we took my oldest son to have some blood drawn. And had it tested for a battery of chemicals. Fortunately, we didn't find anything that was alarming. But what kind of place do you live in when you have to have your children's blood tested to determine if they're being exposed to chemicals? I'm not going to live like that. Some other people may. There's homes for sale in Dish right now. If somebody wants to live in them. But not me. So we made a decision to move. Fortunately, we were able to sell our home. We put our home on the market. We took a pretty decent loss on that. But we were able to move. So you might ask, well, geez, Calvin, if you had all of this data and you were so concerned, how could you sell that to somebody else? That's a valid question. So what I did, in the contract, I made them watch Gaslight. It was written into the contract, the buyer will watch the documentary Gasland provided by the seller. And they signed off that they bought it, or that they had watched it. And also, it was to have a piece of property that close to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport that had that much acreage and was set up for horses. They stole the property. It was so much cheaper than everything else that I assume they were willing to take that risk. So I tried to do my due diligence to inform them of what I did. So we moved in March of 2011. I finished my term as mayor in May of 2011. And we moved to a little town called Aubrey, Texas, which is about 25 miles from Dish. Fortunately, we were able to move 25 miles and get out of an area. We're off the shale. There is no drilling in Aubrey, Texas. Currently, there's no producing hydrocarbon below Aubrey, Texas. Done a significant amount of research to determine that. So we like where we live. What was very telling was immediately upon us moving, nosebleed stopped. Immediately. My oldest son has had asthma his entire life. He's 11. Every single day we lived in Dish, he had had a nebulizer. Immediately upon moving, that stopped. It did not require days on nebulizer. About a year later, we had to give him some, and every once in a while he has to have them if he gets a cold or something like that. Not every day. Anecdotal? I don't think so. We made the right choice by moving our families. That was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. That's one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. Not only did we have the exact home that we wanted to spend the rest of our lives in, we had our family there, we had our friends, our extended family, our church, my kids' school. Both of my kids at that time had never known any other home. So it was tough for us to move. It was tough for us to walk away from all that. But also, I was mayor of the town. Not only did I build my barn, I built the town library. Not only did I build the town library, I built the town park. I think I did a lot of good things when I was mayor, and I had to walk away from that. So it was especially tough. What would it take for you to move away? The supervisor said he wanted to live the rest of his life here. It's a beautiful area. I don't blame him. What would it take for you to move away from your dream? That's something you've got to think about. Me and Sue Ann, we had to move away from our dream homes. And we're the lucky ones. We're lucky because we were able to get out. Those of you who've seen Gasland or Gasland 2, a lot of those people still live in the same areas that they live in. How many of you think you're going to sell your house when that's in your backyard? What do you think that's going to do to your property values? There's a lot of people who were in the exact situation that I was in. Their property values tanked, and they couldn't sell their house. So now you're left with a choice. I can either walk away and lose everything, or I can stay and fight and risk maybe my health, maybe my children's health. I'm the lucky one because I was able to get out. I was able to get my family out. There's a lot of people who are stuck in harm's way. There's a lot of people who get fed up and say, I'm going to file a lawsuit. You think that's an easy process? You're dealing with the most powerful industry in the world. And they're not afraid to spend money on lawyers, as you're probably going to find out. So you file a suit. In the meantime, you're still in a bad situation. When you file a suit, they're not going to fix anything. They're just going to keep letting it deteriorate. So there comes that point when you're on the verge of divorce, you're worried about your family's health, you're not sleeping at night, and then you get the offer. You get the offer from the company that will fix all of your problems. Just sign here. We'll buy your property. Of course, when you sign here, you're attesting that you will never talk about this to anybody. called a non-disclosure agreement. If you talk, they can take everything and more back. So now you have a life of silence. One of the most traumatic events that's ever happened in your life, you can't talk about. Do you see how I can say I'm the lucky one? As we go on through the presentation, think about that. Think about what it would take to make you move from your dream home, from this little piece of paradise here in San Benito County. Think about that. That's not going to be in everybody's backyard, but it's going to be in somebody's backyard. You have oil here. We had gas there. There's going to be something just like this in somebody's backyard. There's no way around it. Something like this will be there. Maybe it's yours, maybe it's not. After I moved from Dish, we were very fortunate that we had scientific data. The scientific data that we had prompted the state to get involved, prompted the EPA to get involved, and allowed us to get some emission controls installed. It allowed some relief. Unfortunately, this activity always seems to go to the lower income areas first. Those are the people who are least likely to be able to protect themselves. So I co-founded an organization called Shale Test, and we provide environmental testing for lower income families. We started this organization 4 years ago. For the last 3.5 years, it's been an all-volunteer organization, basically. I've been going out and doing a lot of the testing myself. We're very fortunate that we've been able to grow to the point that we can't do that anymore. We've started hiring people to run the organization. One of the things that has been a blessing beyond anything that I could have imagined is we had a gas finder camera donated to our organization. The gas finder camera is specifically designed to look at volatile organic compounds. There's 11 different chemicals that it will detect. New, the camera's about $85,000. We bought a used one. As I said, it was donated anonymously. Don't know who the person was. This has been a very important piece of equipment for the research that we've been doing. It lets you see what the naked eye can't see. And it doesn't lie. It's specifically designed to look at a handful of chemicals. And so those are the only chemicals it detects. You can tell a differentiation between heat. It's made by FLIR, but it's not a FLIR camera. It is a gas finder camera, and it finds volatile organic compounds. This is the co-founder of the organization. That's the camera he's holding right there. So it's a pretty big piece of equipment. It's pretty heavy.